Welcome to Redvee TV, supported by Chapel House for the 2023 season. As we look back on Saints' 28 points to 6 victory tonight against Hull Kingston Rovers here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Unfortunately, Dave and Kev Mark 1 weren't available this weekend, so they put an advert out earlier in the week for two very handsome, absolutely gorgeous, very knowledgeable rugby league people, and nobody applied, so they've ended up with Dave and Kev Mark 2. Mr. Howarth, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kev. Another good performance. Made our work for it first half. 6-0 should have been more, but I think on the whole of it, we deserved 28-6 victors and play well second half. Some good stuff there in what was dreadful conditions. Wind was awful. It's lamped it down all game more or less. But yeah, I think we've come out of it. Hopefully with no injuries. Hopefully no suspensions, and we move on to CAS next week.
Summer rugby, they said when they invented this. Going to check my phone because I've made a few notes. Don't know how Lyon does this. He doesn't have a 6 or 12 Madrid though. So first question from me. Team selection, pretty much as we expected. Move Morgs into the front row, and Benison in on the wing for Ritson. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought, obviously with what we've got available, losing Leasy, we had to do something. Morgan's played there before, and I think I thought the pack played really well, and I like Benison, and I'm not saying T's done nothing wrong, but clearly maybe that head knock he had last week against Huddersfield took a little bit more out of him than first thought, and obviously Benison's fully fit now and a good replacement to having coming off onto the wing. But again, overall, we're doing really well with what we've got out at the moment, with suspensions and injuries. All the lads are stepping up, and long may it continue. I thought George Delaney today was fantastic. I thought, you think about it, Morgan has gone off in the first half, and I don't recall him coming back on. I might be wrong there, but when he's gone off, he's not come back on. So we've more or less played there. Louis done 2 good stints. Delaney's done 2 great stints. Dan Norman's, had 2 good stints, and we've got away with it again. I think obviously that purple patch, 5 or 7 minutes into the second half, has allowed Wello not to make those changes and bring Knowles back on him, give him the rest that he probably deserves as well.
I mean, funnily enough for us, we don't normally make big changes early doors, and we made 3 at once. One forced with Mark Percival. Saints confirmed on their Twitter account that he went off for a HIA. Clearly he passed it because he came on at the start of the second half. And then the other 2 forwards, which we normally do make 1 or 2. When Leasy plays, we only make 1 because he can do 40. You talked about George Delaney. He's got man of the match at the ground tonight and just keeps growing and growing into the game. He got man of the match. He gets the ball in the last minute and a half and drops it. So talk about commentator's curse. But yeah, I thought the way we've managed our interchanges tonight, and when you mentioned Knowles, you're not coming back on there. I don't remember him coming back on either, which is a funny one. But the suspensions, the injuries, they're all adding up. Let's break it up into 2 halves, mate. Let's talk about that first half. I've got 2 questions for you. First one is, it was a bit of a drab affair. Crowd couldn't get going. KR were a bit flat. The fans couldn't get going. It's 0-0, 22 minutes in, and we opt to take the 2. What are your thoughts on that?
The thing is, I think you've got to give Hull KR some credit there as well. I think defensively, the first 20 odd minutes, I think first half they were very, very good. Everything we threw at them, they seemed to stem it in some way, shape or form. There was 2. Looks like we had 2 or 3 times we were over the line, and their last ditch defence was really, really good. And I think at some point you've got to look at it and say, take what's in front of you. The old adage, never come away from your opponent's half without points in the bag. And I think obviously we'd thrown everything we could have done. We could have done it without much success. And I think taking the 2 was, for me, and I'm sure many people won't agree with me, but taking the 2 was the right option. I think it put the foot in the door. We had points on the board, and obviously then Hull KR hadn't been in our half up until then either. And then obviously we on the back of, I know what your next question is going to be, on the back of a little bit of an error from Jack there. Then they've got obviously a bit of possession, and again our defence has been really good. But I thought our defence, again, when they're coming out from their 10, 15, 20 metre line, our defence was spot on all game. I thought we were really good. Limited to one try, and that try, don't get me wrong, was a great try from their perspective. But I thought defensively, bob on again, and I think, as I said, that no real. I've got, other than that one little error from Jack there, I've got no real negatives about tonight's performance at all.
And you're right, absolutely right, because you're spot on. That was my next question. Jack Wellesby, often lauded, rightfully so, by all of the Saints faithful. Much of Super League, give him all the credit that he deserves. He can be an absolute game changer and a winner in an instant moment, as he's proved time and time again. But the one word that is coming out just more and more recently is that he just keeps having these brain farts, and he keeps just making these odd mistakes. And I thought it was a bit of a nothing kick, wasn't it? It came from the bit of a back of a scrappy ruck. It came long. For me, he probably could have left it, because the one or two that he did leave ended up going out anyway. So could have left it, and he's put his hand facing forward, and you're thinking, Jack, what are you doing? He's going to get hammered off opposition fans, and he's going to get... Hopefully not his own, but there's always 5% of the idiots, isn't there? But unnecessary mistake that did give them a little bit of feel. And if you're playing a different team today that didn't go to Wembley last week and get stuffed, you're playing a Wigan or a Catalan and it's a semi-final, you can't afford to give away a ball like that, can you?
No, you can't. And as I said, these one or two creeping in. It's not week in, week out, but yeah, you can point to certain parts of his game that he held his hand up himself. He'd be the first one to say that he's made an error there. Whether there's a lack of concentration there, or whether again you look at the weather tonight. There's a bit of wind in the air. We were kicking into the wind in the first half, so obviously that ball may have swirled about. He could have been in position. It's just moved at the last minute. It's caused him. We can make excuses for him. He'll know himself that that's cost us a field position. Fortunately, he's come out of it, and it's something he'll pick up on and take into his next game, and I'm sure he'll come back better and stronger. He had one of his quieter games that I thought, Jack. He was always there, on the periphery, but I think again the stage was set tonight. I thought Johnny Lomax had a great game in the second half. First half he just directed play. I thought Doddy had another good game again. So it's good to see our sixes and sevens coming more into the game and leading the team around the pitches, which is what Saints fans have been crying out for the last probably 12 weeks really, and I'm happy to see it's happening now week in, week out.
Talking about players who've had good games, as we've just mentioned, George Delaney got man of the match out there tonight, and I wouldn't say not deserved. I thought he put a really good shift in, runs his weight twice over, probably runs his and Dan Norman's in the same run, to be fair. But player for me who I think is not getting the credit I think he deserves. And if this bloke isn't in the Super League dream team at the end of the year, then rugby league's gone mad, because James Bell again was absolutely outstanding. And I'll put this to you: last year Belly missed out on the grand final, and you've got Ciro and you've got Batch and you've got Sione. We're struggling in the forwards. Sione can play front row, Morgan can play front row. Might be George Delaney that misses out. Does James Bell miss out on the grand final for you this year based on his performances of recent weeks?
Well, again, I mean, you're dead right what you say. I thought James Bell was awesome tonight. He was my man. He was my man of the match at Belly. I thought he was really good. Starts to finish, ran it in really, really hard. He went through playing, obviously started loose, went to the second row when Percy went off his HIA. Never missed a beat. Tackled everything that moved. I just thought he was outstanding today. Very unlucky not to be man at match. I think at the moment, James Bell fit is in the starting 13 as it stands, and that's the highest compliment I can give him. With Ciro, Batch, Morgan, and Sione, if they're all fit and available, they're going to have to make allowances, because I think James Bell at the moment he has to be one of our back three, and I think he's been our unsung hero of the year this year. Given the amount of injuries we've had.
Agree, mate. For me, he's form back rower of the season. He's been absolutely outstanding across all the Super League. I think he's been brilliant. Couple of interesting stats to just add in. Apparently tonight, Tommy Makinson with his 2 tries has gone into standalone 10th in the all-time Super League try scoring records. Add to that, Mark Percival with his goals has gone above 1,000 career points for Saints. 2 exceptional achievements from two blokes. I said it last week, I'll say it again. I still don't think that putting Davis and Bennison on the same wing and them two over there was the right thing. But we've come out all right. Bennison got caught flat-footed a little bit for start, but we managed to deal with that. But those two blokes, I mean, Tommy Makeson's having another unbelievable season. Percival, tough as they come, goes off, needs stitches, straight back on, straight back into the contact. 2 absolute stalwarts to the club and blokes that we really probably sometimes undervalue and don't appreciate just how much they get through.
Yeah, well, listen, they've both been there, done it. Well, the T-shirt, Tommy, testimonial a couple of years ago. Percy, well-deserved testimonial this year. I think you just can't take away the value that they give us when they're fully fit. And when we miss them, they are massive misses for us. Wello has talked about it. Wolfie always talks about their takeaways from defensive, the carry out from kick-offs and things like that. The yards that they make, it sets the platform for the forwards to do what they do. And you know what? I like the pair of them over there. It's our real strength. I thought they played really, really well. Oh yeah, and don't be wrong. You've got Tyrone Kearty. They had a massive game last week. They had a few days off. They've come back in. They're clearly still affected by it. And they're tired side today. But we have took full advantage of that. And that's not taking anything away from the way Percy and Tommy played in that second half, along assisted ably by Johnny there, giving that space and ball for them to run into the gaps and score the tries.
I think one other thing from me, you look at where we're at in terms of our journey this season and the challenges we've had and the trials and tribulations, the match review panel stuff of this week. I think something today just epitomised what we're about as a club. And when Sione, he dropped the ball here, literally right in front of us on that 10-metre line, and he dropped the ball, the referee's given a knock on, he's got his head straight, he's gone in at first marker. Poor Ethan Ryan's the first one to take it in, and he's absolutely levelled him and put him 5 yards back. And I think for me that's just a sign of these boys are going to work so hard for each other, and if you make a mistake, do you know what, you're going. Jack Wellsby's done it the last couple of weeks, he's made the odd mistake here and there, and for the last 3 weeks he's been last try scorer. So he's gone and he's made a mistake, but then he's equalised it, and Sione's done the same. And I get the feeling that these boys are just going to carry on turning up for each other, carry on doing the work, carry on putting those hits in. If you make a mistake, that's fine. We get over it. You go again. And I just thought that for me was like a really pivotal moment of not just the game, but I think our season maybe overall.
Yeah, I think since Sione's come back into the team after his last suspensions, I think he's done really well. Last week I thought he had a great game. I thought again tonight, I thought his attacking play was very, very good. Broke tackles at will. Defensively, we all know what he's like. Yeah, we all know that he's very, very, very near the level to what's legal and what's illegal. But I think he's mastered that last couple of games. I think he's played really, really well. I think again his commitment there to win that tackle. There was some real shuddering hits out there today. And he was at the first and foremost of most of it. So again, keep him injury free, keep him suspension free. He's another player that can have a massive impact on the rest of our season. The good thing about it all as well is, as much as we don't like seeing our lads be suspended, positive to it's keeping them all fresh as well as we go into the business end of the season. Got 2 massive games coming up now, with Castleford and Wakefield. Two sides at the foot of the table fighting for their lives. Both away games, both going to be massively difficult for us, especially with what we've got going in there as well. In theory, we've got maybe Connie coming back next week, which he mentioned in the lounge before. So he hopefully back next week. We don't know where we are with Hopper. He could be back next week. Ciro may give him a week longer. We know obviously Iggy and Big Al are out for the season. But if we can start getting these players coming back week in, week out, getting that freshness, get that sort of rotation going, I wouldn't back against us. I really wouldn't.
No, Wing you due back too, hopefully by the end of the season as well. You talk about Connor, you look at Ben Davis again, done nothing wrong tonight. He's had another solid game. Good kid, puts his hand up, does his work, solid in D, solid in attack. You talk about Waker and Cass and Waker, two tough games. We're being ushered out. Yeah, 2 secs, mate. two tough games coming up, but you'd think that the way we're just chalking off the wins one after the other, and I put a message in the group said now a couple of weeks ago saying I genuinely think we can go and win every single game. We've had adversity again since then. You talk about Matty Lees maybe needing a rest, he's got 2 weeks off, and that'll do him the world of good, because you know what, he's done massive minutes, hasn't he?
And he'll come back fresh, revitalised, and as I say, you know, we've got a big game, you know, against Lee. We've got he'll come back for Wakefield, massive game. Come back for Lee, massive game. Why away? You know, I think, you know, we're going to get them all fresh and ready to go as we you know, the main part of the season. And listen, let's just see where we are in 3 or 4 games time. If, you know, we're going to have a big game next week against Catalan. They get beat there, we go and do a job against Castleford. We're in second. We've all been saying from the outset, if we finish second, we can take that all day. So let's see where we are.
Brilliant. I think we're getting ushered out of the stadium. I don't think I've ever been last in. Yeah, so I don't think we can get out there, so you might have to get us out this way. So yeah, we're away to Castleford next Friday, so if you've not got your tickets already, do so, because I think the boys could do with us all being there, singing loud and proud. Always a good place to go, the Jungle on a Friday night. Good home fans, make a lot of noise. Dave and Kev will be back hopefully through the week for the preview show. Thanks, Dave, for joining. Hope we've done a good enough job. Hope we don't have to do it again. I've been rehearsing all week. So yeah, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time for another episode of Redvee TV. Take care.